Chelsea are desperate to turn the tide as they host West Ham in a third consecutive London derby in the Premier League. They've had 5 defeats from the last 7 league games, which have seen their hopes for the Champions League hang by a thread. With an 8-point gap on 4th place Tottenham, it's going to be a bit struggling times for Chelsea. West Ham, meanwhile, took a huge step to safety after defeating Southampton 3-0 at the weekend. Up step West Ham. Chelsea moving to Stamford Bridge. What's going to happen? Anyway, welcome back to Irons United's YouTube channel. We are live tonight. Make sure you get your comments in below. We'll get someone in responding. All that malarkey and jazz. Subscribe to our channel and we will get back to you. I'm joined by some familiar faces. Luke, who is above me, Richard, who's all the way over there, and Joel Joberg, and someone new in the top corner, and it's Steph. Steph,
Hi.
if you don't, Steph, are you okay?
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Excellent. Steph, could you mind just giving yourself a bit of an introduction to the channel, let everyone know who you are, how long you've been West Ham, what you kind of, current thoughts are, etc.
Okay, well, I've been West Ham since I was born. I was born in Newham General Hospital, but I was dragged away from the East End, and now I live in the Midlands. So we commute 3 hours each way every home game, and it's just me and my dad.
Proper dedication. No, that's good, Steph. And listen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I know we've kind of been talking about coming on, so it's good to see you, and it's good to have new faces on the show, and hopefully all you people watching the show will like it. Anyway, up step Chelsea, we go to Stamford Bridge. How nice would it be to have a replication of the result where West Ham managed to beat Chelsea at the London Stadium, thanks to Marko Arnautovic? Seemed to be the turning point of his West Ham career, really, to be honest. So, look, what do you think of the threats for Chelsea?
Before I start talking, a bit thirsty here, actually.
Oh!
Tango.
Oh, you've been tangoed.
Oh, he's tough, man.
Oh, he's done it.
Do you know
He's done
what?
it.
If I'm going to be on this show getting a piss taken out of me, I'm going to get some reward out of it. Tango, hit me up with your endorsements, please, because I've had enough of this fucking bullshit. Right. That is,
boy.
Yeah. You're gonna have to repeat your question actually, Anton, because I completely forgot what you asked me.
Chelsea, a struggling Chelsea team comes up against I suppose you could say, not even an informed West Ham, a struggling West Ham team, which have all the way to Stamford Bridge. Thoughts on the game? Don't give me your full rundown like you do. Just give me your brief rundown.
Yeah, we're gonna win.
Listen, come on, a bit more than that. Come on.
Okay, well, yeah, Chelsea, dickhead. Chelsea are there for the taking. I think Dan said it yesterday and gifted the gab as well. They're there for the taking. We've got somehow momentum, if you can call it that, after the last game. Fans are now more behind the team than before. Chelsea are all crap compared to what they should be. Managers under threat. Nothing really to play for in the league anymore. We're still not safe, despite what I think people think now at the minute. So, we still need to get some points on the board. And why not? London derby, away game. Let's have it.
Yeah. Rich, what's your thoughts
Was that
on...
good enough for you? Was that short enough for you?
That was short enough, mate. Listen, you were 5 seconds over, so I'll give you that one. Rich, what are your thoughts on Chelsea? I mean, how good would it be that West Ham could maybe emulate the victory we had? I mean, how, with 8 games to go, with some of the big teams in the league to play, is this a good time to be playing Chelsea?
Yeah, I think it definitely is. Obviously, looking at Chelsea's form, they've been very up and down over the last 7-8 games. Kind of been going win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Conte seems to want out. He's not happy. Abramovich hasn't been backing him. Players up in arms. But you know what? I think if all West Ham fans love a London derby, and we won obviously at the London Stadium, so to replicate that at Stamford Bridge would be amazing. And I think they're definitely there for the taking. They're struggling for form. Obviously, we're not in the greatest form ourselves. I'm not going to paint over cracks because we were rubbish for the last 3 games, and luckily in our last game we've shown some decent form and put in a good result. We love playing Chelsea. For the last 2-3 seasons we've always managed to pick up points against them, and I think it's a game where we can kind of go there with no fear. As long as we don't go and get battered and get our goal difference destroyed, we can kind of go there and express ourselves. You're not expected to get much from the game, and obviously we have Stoke the week later, so that's the main game we have to focus on. So we can kind of just throw everything at the Chelsea game, try and nick something, and get something in the Stoke game.
Stephanie, it seems to be that the West Ham way is that when a big team like Chelsea comes along, we sometimes rise to the occasion, but then the games we expect to maybe do something in against the teams like Stoke and Southampton, we technically or usually do fail. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it is the West Ham way, isn't it? So it's typical. We go hell for leather against Chelsea, Arsenal, Man U, Man City, and sometimes we are lucky and we get a result, or even just 1 point is good enough, and we are happy with that. And then we go to someone like Stoke, we go to Swansea, and we get obliterated.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, we're all against the whole team, and our support just diminishes.
Yeah. It's a frustrating thing about West Ham is when we come up against these big sides, or sorry, the sides what you would say in and around us, that we can never really seem to perform, because you always think if you gather that mix of when we rise to the occasion against the big sides, we're coming up against those small sides, what really could actually, or what are West Ham actually capable of? When you talk about Chelsea, you see their recent form. They've lost 5 in 7 league games, which is not great form for a Chelsea side that in the past couple of years have been kind of tearing up the league a little bit. They've got players like Hazard in their wings. They've got Morata. They've got players. I mean, the strength and the depth in their squad compared to West Ham's strength is night and day. Look, what are the main threats for Chelsea when they come up against West Ham?
What we can give them, what they can give us.
Or they can give us. Yeah. What's the kind of what's Chelsea's threats?
Well, at the minute, I think probably the midfield with Kante. He's always a threat. He clears up everything. And
might I add, we were rumoured to him for a while before he even went anywhere near Leicester. I know, it's just typical West Ham, isn't it?
We probably would have ruined him if he came to us anyway, knowing us.
Yeah. See, Richard's got it. Richard's got the idea. Be negative in a positive way. I think they've got good width in their team. They've also got sort of a good midfield. I don't think their forward attacking options are particularly great. Morata's not on good form. Giroud hasn't really done anything since moving there from Arsenal either. It's just a team out of form, and I think, but it's like like I said with Kante, if Kante had a good game against Southampton, but he had a poor one against Burnley. So it depends which Kante turns up. It depends if Noble's up for the game, doesn't get booked for a dirty tackle or whatever. João Mario needs to turn up again. Obviously, Antonio's out now as well with an injury. If we carry on the form we've got, we shouldn't have to worry about them too much. But it's hard to really pinpoint any particular danger from them to us, because I think it's more on if we let them do to us than on them, if you get what I mean. But I don't see Chelsea as that much of a threat as they probably should be. So in that respect, I think Alonso's one of them players. Actually, the one player Alonso's probably the one player that I would fear, because I think he sort of he's a bit inconsistent with his play. I think if he wants to turn up, he can do some damage. I mean, not particularly quick on the right-hand side, are we? Especially with Zabaleta there. But for me, it's going to be Kante and Alonso if there's any players in Chelsea's team that can do some damage to us.
And I suppose another couple of players that Chelsea are expecting back for this game is Courtois and Pedro after taking a knock, so they should be available for Chelsea. Do you see that as a boost for Chelsea, Richard?
I think so. I think Caballero has done a decent job in goal, but it's always nice to have someone like Courtois in goal. Such a massive frame, so commanding, come out and take crosses with ease. And I think in the case of Pedro, it just adds more pace to the attack. You look at the likes of Willian, Pedro, those are two players that could definitely cause us a bit of problems with their pace, especially if we don't have, especially if we've got some aging legs in our back 4 or 5. So that's where they could get at us. But
and
I look at the last Chelsea game. Continue.
No, I was going to say there, just touching on what you were saying, and I'll throw this one to you, Steph. If you look at, I suppose, the predicted lineup for Chelsea, with the pace of Moses, who we know very well, Fabregas, maybe not so much, but his passing ability, Kante, Alonso, Willian, and Hazard. I mean, you think about our fullbacks, who particularly aren't the speed, and as Jane mentioned last night, our back four or our back defenders belong in a retirement home in the nicest way possible. It's kind of true with the age. What are your thoughts? I mean, surely that's something because that's the biggest thing I fear, to be honest, Steph.
Yeah, I think on Sunday we've got to go in attacking from the whistle. We've got to put Chelsea under so much pressure, like we did with Southampton on Saturday. We need to really, really focus on going forward and putting them under pressure. So they have to back off of us a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, we've got Collins. I don't think he's going to get a contract after the season's finished because he's old. You've got Ollie.
Straight to the point.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, then you got Oggy. I don't know how old he is, but he's hit or miss. He either turns up or he just doesn't. But I was so glad in Southampton. I don't actually think I saw him pass backwards once. So I was very impressed with that. I like Zabaleta. So I'm sorry if you don't, but I like him.
Yeah, I like him as well. Sure.
So and I think he always runs his socks off. And he loves the game. Creswell.
I don't know what's happened to Creswell.
I'd rather let Evra have a go than Creswell this time.
See on that point, Steph, when I was at the Liverpool game, I mean, listen, we got smashed to pieces at the Liverpool game, but the one player for me and Rich, I think me and you, I can't even remember, to be honest, because I think I had quite a few drinks, but we were speaking about Evra, just how he did give a lot to the team that day, although when you've got Evra down one side, Zabaleta down the other side, and I agree with you, Steph, I think he does give it his all. Unfortunately for me, his legs have gone in terms of when he gets back, and he does get caught out of position quite a lot, which does give us a weakness on the flanks, and we have lost the strength or that player we once knew, and his name was Aaron Creswell. Like, I mean, what has happened to this guy? I mean, how many more seasons really are we going to give? Are we going to give this lad to try and prove that he can do what he did? It's really frustrating though, because you think to yourself, a young English fullback. Oh, Tango Man's having a drink.
Get that money coming in, Tango. Come on, boys. You know.
How important is having Masuaku back? Look, what's your thoughts on? Or go for it, Steph. You're passionate. Go.
That.
He's a machine. Sorry, Luke. He is a machine. We have completely missed him. He's just like on fire. He's amazing. So we cannot lose him again.
Yeah.
So that's why they all had their goggles on from the Newham High School, from the science department, in case he spat at them.
That's a decent spit though, considering he'd done it in Wigan, wasn't it, as well?
Well, yeah.
It's a decent effort, but I mean, we're expecting some players back, which is interesting, and ones that, I mean, I'm not going to bore you with my love for my Chicharito, but it looks like he's set to return, and it looks like potentially we might get some positive news regarding Lanzini and potentially also James Collins. So does that put Moyes into a difficult situation, Luke, with regards to team selection? Because let's not forget Fernandez's performance against Southampton, which, you know, I mean, you can't really forget that type of performance.
Steph, do you want to jump in here, or come on for this one? Yeah. I'm joking, babe. I'm joking. It's all right. Newcomers over here. Jesus Christ. No, I think that it's a weird one, because you would think on the face of it, you don't want to change a winning team. But then again, you know, you can't say no to players coming back, especially decent players. And I mean, they're not shit players coming back. It's good to have, like you said, Lukaku coming back as well Saturday, because despite me being totally against what he'd done, he obviously made a massive difference to the game on Saturday. Well done for the cross as well, perfect cross. But yeah, I think Fernandes, I'm a fan of Fernandes, and I don't really know why, because he's not really done anything apart from the goal against Chelsea last season to justify me being a fan of him. But I think I am for some reason. And I think that he does deserve to keep his place. I think he's done really well. But then again, that whole game, there's not really one player that had a bad game. So, you know, get Lanzini back, get them all back, get Hernandez in there. It's just a different kettle of fish. Southampton were poor, and they're in the same boat as we are. Chelsea, different end of the table, much better players, even though they're not in form. So I think you either do one or two things. You either keep it as it is, keep the momentum going, get them motivated, possibly a different game plan due to a different team, or you change it around to try and combat a different team more entirely. So you either go defensive, park the bus, and hit them on a counter-attack because it's not at home. For me personally, I'd kind of just keep it the same as it is. Let Arnautovic do his thing up front. Let Mustaku tear him apart on the left-hand side and see how it goes. But that's probably why I'm so blasé about it and not Premier League manager. So, there you go.
Rich, I mean, what was important to maybe take from the previous game was that was a kind of a West Ham that had turned some of their fortunes around, although the season's been shit and crap, but Arnautovic was the man to watch at the last game. What was it that we did in that game that we can or can we not afford to do in this game?
Well, I mean, we've got to soak up pressure and be able to play on the break because Chelsea are going to have a lot of the ball. They're going to dominate. But going back to having Masuaku back, you've got to have players in a team like him who, when we bog down and we're in our own halves, we have to have someone that can carry the ball and literally just go on a run and just get us out of trouble, because we're going to be soaking up pressure. And that's where I feel if Lanzini's fit, he's got to slot straight back in, because he's another player that can carry the ball and get us out of trouble. But we've just got to take our chances, be direct, because that's what we were against Southampton. We weren't scared to take shots from range, test the keeper, put in crosses. If Masuaku can get a chance to another tango. Are you getting paid per
Mate,
sip or something?
Honestly, genuinely, I am thirsty tonight. I'll grab a tango just for the advantage, but I genuinely am thirsty. So keep talking, mate. It's all right. I'm just silently doing me endorsements.
Yeah, so definitely just get the ball up to Big Marco, who's been unreal this season for us. Just plays with his heart on his sleeve every time, and he's in the form of his life at the moment. So 9 times out of 10, he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. So get the ball up to him, get the ball wide. Don't get bogged down and pass the ball backwards. That's where Noble's going to have a big role to play. If he's not at it on Sunday, we're going to struggle. So we've got to get legs. That's where I feel like Fernandes might have a bigger role to play, because he's got legs, he's got a bit of flair about him, and that's the type of player we need against Chelsea. So yeah, definitely.
And now, Stephanie, we've got the returning Chicharito coming back into the side. Do you actually see him getting a chance to start, or is this going to suit Moyes with the style of play with Arnautovic, you know, just sitting in his position up top himself, kind of trying to connect the midfielders?
Well, with Chicharito, I don't think, well, I know he cannot play up front on his own.
Yeah.
He's not got enough support. The balls don't go in for him at the right height. So he needs to play up front with Arnautovic if he's going to start.
And can you see that happening? Can you see Moyes taking that position to do that? Because if we do that, who do we drop? Because we've got the other thing to add to this mix, sorry to confusion, but Lanzini, if he is fit, do we just put him straight into the mix? Or is Moyes going to try and protect him and give him a game time?
Well, I would have Arnie and Peter up front, supported by Lanzini.
Yeah.
And then you have like Noble, Mario and Zappa behind there.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, if we've got to take Mario's performance in, I'll pass this one to you, Luke. I mean, how do you rate his performance? In actual fact, not just his performance, but his kind of time at West Ham.
Personally, I'm still astounded at how he got a goal and an assist in that game, because to me, he was just piss poor. Didn't look like a player that we should be spending 40 odd million on in the summer if the rumours are true about us really wanting to get him in. At the same time, he looks too lightweight to me. I'm not a huge fan, to be fair. I know players have got to be given time here and there, and don't be too harsh on them. But for me, Lanzini's 10 times the player he is. We're talking about a guy who won the Euros with Portugal, and it's just like typical West Ham get the player that Fonte and Mario in the same season have been awful. Hopefully he has a good game, and I've seen nothing of him right now really. Maybe I am being too harsh on him, but I've seen nothing really that makes me motivated about him, and it's sad because we kind of need a play. If he turns up, I'll give him a benefit of the doubt. I'll give him his dues. But apart from that cross for Arnie and the shot, I didn't see anything of him of any brilliance. So for me, I'm not too looking forward to seeing him, to be honest with you.
Yeah. What about yourself, Rich and Steph?
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, I was excited when he joined because he is a Euro winner and he's played a lot of the games for Portugal in France in the Euros. But he hasn't exactly lit the Premier League alight. He's put in a few alright performances. Obviously, he got his goal and his assist, as Luke mentioned. But I also agree. I think he's a bit lightweight. I don't feel his head's really in it because, coming from Inter Milan, I'm not sure how much he really wanted to come to West Ham. I'm not sure how much of it was his agent pushing for a move. I don't know. So I'm not too sure if he really wanted to be here. But fair play to him. He's come and he's got his goal. He seems to be up for the fight, at least over social media, if that's anything to go by. But there's no denying his class. I mean, if you've got a £35 million price tag on you, you must be a half decent footballer. And coming to the Premier League straight away is never easy. A lot of players need time to adjust. So if we do get him and he turns out to be a decent player, I think a few of us will eat our words. But at the moment, I can't say he's done a fantastic job at the club, to be honest.
And no, I completely agree with you. Stephanie, have you got anything to add with regards to Mario? I mean, one thing I will say, though, is we do keep talking about how Portugal won the Euros, but we need to not forget the fact that Greece also won the Euros and their players haven't particularly performed that well back in the day. So, yeah, but your point on him having a high price tag, at some point he's been there, but for me personally, it was a signing just to try and appease the fans. I don't think the board have any intentions of paying £40 million for Mario, and they are going to try and buy him on the cheap, and they're going to get laughed at again 100%. Stephanie, Lanzini coming back, how important is he?
Extremely important. He's another little rocket that we've got, so we've missed him since he's been injured, so I'm really looking forward to having him back in the team. Yeah,
it is kind of mouthwatering sometimes when you think of these players. If we can get these players playing on form at the same time, without injuries, without suspensions, about what our potential attacking side could be, but we can never seem to build that momentum. We always seem to come up against a team, and Moyes seems to maybe shit himself in panic and drop a player and try and play that defensive style, etc. Whereas I just feel like we need to, I don't know, is one more victory from our last games enough to keep us safe? That's a good question for you, Luke.
Well, it's typical West Ham because we'll probably think like that and then take the foot off the pedal and then get mugged off at some point. To be fair, the whole time I'm thinking about this relegation battle, the more I'm thinking we shouldn't even be anywhere near it. Again, obviously the board and their lives, I don't want to keep going over that same old broken record, but it's if we manage to get a result against Chelsea, fantastic. But I think like all the West Ham fans will say that, we could beat Chelsea and lose to Stoke, and it would be like the most typical West Ham thing to do. There's three things we're all fearing. Chelsea, Arsenal, Man United, whatever, Man City as well, and it's like, they're the ones, the big dogs who we don't want to take on. But I guarantee West Ham step up and get a result out of them. I don't think as Moyes lost under Moyes, if we lost a humiliating scoreline against a big team, we beat Chelsea. We drew.
We've only lost big scores against the small teams.
Yeah, how West Ham is that?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, okay, we lost to Man City, but we only lost 2-1, and quite a few teams
4-1,
lost
4-1
2-1.
Liverpool. 4-1 Liverpool.
Oh yeah, fucking hell. But they're out of the way now. They're done. They're fine. We'll leave them in their Champions League campaign. That's fine. We don't want to do that yet.
But on this topic of conceding goals, I suppose it brings us in nicely to a big topic of conversation. One I feel like we have every single week, but we need to bring it back up. Joe Hart and Adrian. I'll put this one straight. I'll put this one over to you, Richard. What do we do? What do you want to happen? What will happen with Moyes?
Wow, I love Adrian, always will. Top keeper, he loves the fans, loves the club, that's why I love him. And I personally don't see him starting again for the rest of the season. I think Moyes has made up his mind and Hart will play the rest of the season. Whether Hart stays is another question. I don't think he will. Obviously, Joe Hart's trying to weave his way back into the England squad, into the England makeup, but I don't see him getting in ahead of Butland or Pickford, really. So it's a strange one, really, because yeah, Adrian had made the odd error, but I didn't feel that a change was really, really necessary. Like, it wasn't obvious that Adrian needed to be dropped. So when Hart came back, I kind of went, oh, that's a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I would prefer Adrian because I just love him and he loves the club. Hart's kind of just come in the hope that he can get some game time. Doesn't really care, to be honest. He doesn't really care about the club. I know I sound a bit like a tosser for saying that, but I'd prefer Adrian to play. But Moyes has made up his mind and he's going to play Hart, in my opinion, and that's just how the season's going to end out. And then whether we get another keeper in the summer is another question. But I'd like Adrian to stay.
Over to you, Steph.
Right, I won't mince my words. I fucking hate Hart. I hate him. He can't catch a freaking ball. He's a goalkeeper, and he's really suspect to his left-hand side, and he has to check where the goal is when you're looking behind him. Like, you're a goalkeeper, you know what your goal's behind you. Don't keep looking back because then you've lost your momentum. He had nothing to do on Saturday, and that's the only reason that he got a clean sheet. And that's another reason why Moyes won't put Adrian back in, because, well, Hart's got a clean sheet, but Hart didn't need to do anything. You know, he didn't really come off of his line, I don't think. So, and it's not our responsibility to help him get back in the England squad. The moment he started cocking up, playing for us because he didn't really want to be at West Ham, that was his own doing, that he's got himself out of the England squad.
Yeah, you do make a valid point, Stephanie. I remember at the beginning of the season. I know. I remember at the beginning of the season when we signed Joe Hart, and I'm not going to lie, I was quite excited about it. I know he never had a great career over in Italy, but I just put that down to a bit of travelling abroad, etc. But yeah, I've not been massively impressed with him because I've not seen the Hart that screams and shouts, and if I have seen the Hart that screams and shouts and demands in his box, it looks like it's a Hart that has no idea what he's screaming and shouting to or for, and that's the part that confuses me the most. Now, I'm not saying if I had to choose between one or the other, I'm going to choose Adrian, but what I will say when it comes to the summer is we need to go out there and go and get a number one goalkeeper. And I don't care if someone turns around to me and says, who is it? Well, I haven't done my homework, so I don't know the answer to the question right now, but there will be a goalkeeper out there that we can tempt away that's got some youthfulness about it. All you need to do is look at AC Milan's goalkeeper and look at the age he is, and he's got, I don't know what, over 150 appearances, if not more than that for the club. I believe he is now Italy's number one goalkeeper, I think. And Buffon, okay, he's coming out of retirement. But the point of the matter is, teams like that, of that stature, are giving youth a chance. And what's to say West Ham don't give the youth a chance? It's not going to happen. But for me personally, we do need the brand spanking new goalkeeper. In actual fact, for me, moving into the summer, we need an overhaul of the whole squad, and that's maybe a topic of conversation coming up to the end of the season. We can maybe do a show on who we think should stay, who we think should go, etc. Starting lineups, we are coming. Well, before we do,
I think Adrian, by the way,
Have I not asked you that?
Really? No, you're not. Right, it's fine. That's all right. It's cool.
Well, just quickly, a couple of comments.
I know, Luke.
Yeah, a couple of comments on YouTube. Mickey Smith has just literally written "Oompa Loompa." It's very.
I don't know if it's literally, Matt. I think it's quite early on actually done that. Thank you. I've got quite a few comments you've missed out on. If that's the first one you're coming to, so keep up. I was better than you last night.
Kemi Coker has said I'd be happy with a draw, and I think we'll come on to our predictions soon. But I'm probably in agreement as well. Let's hope Lanzini is fit. He likes to score in these derbies. It's true. Mickey Smith, he said I'd say 3-1 to Chelsea just because they got hurt by Spurs. Would be more concerned for the Stoke game, and we'll win that. Come on, you Irons. Mitchell Balzan has said it's time for the iron to strike while it's hot as a blue Chelsea hit a new slump. And Mitchell, you make a valid point. They are in a slump, so it's an opportunity for West Ham to try and take the chance there. They might put a performance together for Ray Wilkins. And as Dan said yesterday, all respects to Ray Wilkins and his family. All the football family are together at this time and are thinking of you all. Kemi Coker has said Fernandes was awesome. We can't deny the fact Fernandes was awesome. He was up for it. He was upbeat. He was giving 100% everything he was doing. Kemi Coker, the same team who played against the Saints, that's who he thinks should play as well. But if we go to before we the question I was going to ask before Oompa Loompa rudely interrupted me.
Rudely missed out me first of all. Okay.
Stephanie, we have had some protests over the last weekend. If you follow Stephanie or Steph on any of the social media, you'll see she's got some good opinions on certain things. So, Stephanie, give us your kind of brief rundown on the protests, what you think moving forward, etc.
Okay, so I met with Wayne and Jane on Saturday, and we were escorted all the way to the stadium from the station by the police, which was hilarious, to be honest. It was quite good fun. We were just all having a good laugh with the coppers, saying, "Oh, think of the overtime" and all that. And they were like really up for helping us get there safely. Anyway, but it was completely peaceful. It was just us having a chance to have our voice because the board are killing us. They are absolutely destroying us, and they need to put their hand in their pockets and pay some decent freaking money out in the summer because we are slowly drowning.
Yeah.
We cannot keep up with the Premier League as it is with bloody bloke from Solihull, like from a non-league team. And that's up the road from me. That I'm just like, what? Oh, we got him for free. Oh, that's cool. Everything's a loan, or it's like really cheap.
Yeah.
Why are we doing everything by the cheap? That's why we're not progressing like we should be.
Yeah. And moving forward, we do know that there are some more protests. Are you getting yourself involved in them, Steph?
Of course. Of course. I love a protest.
So just for the reference of anyone watching, just give us a quick update on the protest for the next one that you know of.
So we've got another one for the Man City game. And there'll be more details released on that closer to the time. I've heard that we're going to do a sit-in at the end of the Man City game, so because it will be televised, and by all of us like refusing to leave the ground, that's gonna catch the camera's eye.
Okay. No, that's cool, and thanks for that update, Steph. What we'll do is, and if you're happy for this, we'll come back on to another Gift of the Gab, have you back on, and we'll probably go into more of a debate on the whole situation. Not a debate, but, you know, just to see what everyone else's points of view are, because I know you guys, or Luke, you've done a discussion, a polite discussion. So, Luke, we know you had strong opinions on that last night as well. So, let's get back to the preview. And just briefly give me a rundown. Let's kind of all collectively get involved in this. Hart, Adrian, what will Moyes do? We all know it's going to be Hart, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
back line.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, back line. What's he going to do in the back line?
Zaba, Ogbonna.
If
Come
Jins,
on, help me out, yeah.
Right. Sorry, Rice has got to play.
Yes.
Essentially, the one worry is that Moyes goes, well, you've had a good game against the struggling Southampton, but Chelsea will be a bit too much for you away from home.
But that's a very typical Moyes thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm bringing it up.
And you mentioned earlier on against Man City, Declan Rice absolutely had Aguero in his pocket the whole game. Yeah, we got beat 2-1, but it wasn't thanks to Aguero because Declan Rice had him completely covered.
Yeah.
And this is the biggest mistake, in my opinion, as West Ham fans and as West Ham coaches. We drop a player when he plays well. We've done it with Chicharito when he was on form. He scored 3 and 2. We dropped him, and then he's lost form again. It's just fucking embarrassing. So, sorry. So
I would like to see Evra play because he's got the Premier League experience.
right, okay.
But then would you push Masuaku up then, because Evra would have to play at left back, would he not?
Yes, Evra would be left back. So yeah, I'd push Masuaku.
Would that mean you're playing a flat back four with no Creswell? Obviously, because what I mean by that is obviously that Creswell's been making been a makeshift left side centre back for a little while now.
Yeah.
In that kind of wing back roles or flat back four, and obviously the jury's out. I personally think Evra's been pretty good actually when he's played. I don't think he's made that many mistakes. He's been alright. Yeah. But it's whether you're suddenly you're taking that Creswell, who himself hasn't put up any trees, but he's had that experience a little while now playing as a makeshift centre back, and suddenly you're chucking in Evra straight into the game, and you're saying, right, not only are you playing possibly left back as you are, but also when it comes back as defence, you're going to play left side centre back. Is that what you're comfortable with, or Steph? Sorry.
Well, yeah, I know you're talking to me, Luke, but
it's a setup. I can't see the three phases. It's just like one face of a thing.
well, I feel like
Moyes will go 5 at the back.
Is that your Steph? I love that. Steph, is that your lineup? Go for it. Name it.
Yeah. So I've got Hart, then Zaba. I've actually put Collins in because I think I'd just give him a go because I don't think he's going to get many more games. Oggy, and then Evra.
Right.
Then I've got Masuaku in front of Zaba and Collins, and right in front of Oggy and Evra. And then I've got Noble and Koyate, and then Arnie and Chica up front.
I like that. I do like that because I like that solely based on the fact that you've got Chicharito in the team, because I just think I'm not going to bore all you fans again with my love for this guy, but
at some point you are going to have just Chicharito versus the 11 opposition. At some point in this season.
Tell you what, if you had
fucking Outovich, he's out.
Tell you what, if you had 11 Chicharitos, at least you'd put the ball in the box and one of them would score a goal. Do you know what I mean? Like, unlike the rest of the side.
Would you? That's all enough to get.
But then, funny enough, he gets most of his goals are scored from headers. So that's
shot down. He ain't no Ronaldo, son. He ain't no salmon. He ain't gonna leap for them.
Well, the one thing I will say, Steph, on your team selection, I want Chicharito to play up front. I just don't think Moyes is going to do it. I just don't see it happening. He's just come back from his illness. He is. I just see us setting up in that. The one thing I do worry about is, and we're all like this as West Ham fans, we see the starting lineup and we get disheartened by the starting lineup sometimes, especially when players are coming back. Rich, where do you think Moyes is going to go with this?
I think he's going to go 5 at the back. I see him going Zaba, Ogbonna, Rice, Creswell, Masuaku. And then I feel he'll go Noble, Koyate, Mario, Lanzini on Artovich. So it'll be, I just don't see him. I'd like Everett to play as well, Steph. I'm the same as you, but I just feel as though he'll go with 5 at the back. And he'll have to play Masuaku as the wing back. So I think Creswell will have to slot in as like a left centre back. And then obviously Noble and Koyate will just provide that shield in front of our back 5. And then they'll just let Mario, Lanzini and Arnautovic do the business. So yeah, that's what I can see doing. I think Moyes is going to go as compact as possible, like he always does away from home, and we'll just try hit them on the break and at set pieces perhaps. And Rice has to play. If he doesn't play Rice, I will be very upset.
Yeah,
that's just another thing I add.
Some of Creswell's best performances, albeit this season's been crap, has been in that position you've put him in the back three, the centre backs. But yeah, I agree with you completely on Declan Rice. Luke, your kind of whole idea of what's going to happen?
Well, I feel a bit unprofessional. With like, yeah, exactly. Steph's kind of showing me up a little bit here. I feel like I'm prepared. I kind of feel like it's going to be the same setup, just more defensive. And I've got an idea he'll use Fernandes as more of a midfielder rather than a winger, like he was Morris on Saturday. And then he'll have maybe wing backs. So I think it's going to be Hart in goal, Zabaleta right wing back, Rice, Ogbonna, Creswell, Masuaku as left wing back. Then you have obviously with Fernandes, and then Arnautovic up front. And I've suddenly forgotten if that formation works or not. If I've chosen too many or two less players in
I think you're missing one. I think.
Oh, okay.
So
then
maybe Mario or Lanzini.
Oh, yeah. If he has to go in, he has to go in. But I'd rather put Hernandez in there, to be fair, just to sort of agree with Anton and get on the old Hernandez bandwagon. But I don't. That's because I don't make Mario. But believe me, if he has a good game, I'll praise him to the hill. But Mario doesn't really cut it for me in a minute. But you never know.
That takes us in nicely to near the end of the show, where we're going to predict the outcome of the game. So I'll throw you under the bus, Richard, and give me your predictions for the game on Sunday, live on Sky Sports. What is your prediction?
All right, Jim.
Okay, well, I first just want to say something. I felt like I was a bit harsh on Joe Hart earlier. To be fair play to him. When he got dropped, he didn't sulk about it. He just got back to business, and he's been pretty professional. So yeah, I didn't mean to slag him off as much as I did, but I feel like I do more. But anyway.
Has someone given you into trouble there,
Thanks,
Richard?
Luke. I just because I genuinely actually have looked up to Joe Hart as a youngster, and I do think he's a decent keeper, and I just felt like I just slagged him off a little bit. But I've got that heartfelt apology out the way, and now let me go to my prediction. I think I'm going to be positive. Why am I always so positive? I don't know. I think we are going to nick a point, and it's going to be a 2-2. It's going to be the same result we got 2 seasons ago, where we should have bloody won the game, but then Madley decided to give him a penalty when Loftus-Cheek tripped himself outside the box. So yeah, I think we'll get a point. Let me be positive.
Steph?
Yeah, I would be ecstatic with 1 point. So I'm going to go 1-1 because I think a struggling Chelsea, but a West Ham now are really up for a fight. So I think it's going to be 1-1.
And
Luke?
I had about 3 scores in my head just then. Pick one. I think I'm going to go for 3-2. Because as much as I'm saying that Chelsea are
to who?
What?
To who?
Who do you think? I'm not going to say Chelsea, am I? You know I'm right. No, West Ham 3-2. Sorry. I think it's going to be this. As much as I'm saying Morata's out of form and all the rest of it, I guarantee they score against us. That's what out of form players do. So I think Arnautovic will get a goal, possibly Masuaku as well. And as I've been slagging him off this whole show, João Mario, if he plays, will definitely get a goal, just purely because I've slagged him off. Mario and Alonso for the goal scorers. I'm hoping just put up a fight, not just roll over and let them do whatever. You know, they're there for the taking. Take advantage.
Yeah. Last but not least, I'm going to give you my prediction, and I've been going positive all season. I went negative last week. I'm going to go negative again because I think we're going to get smashed 3-0. And I know it sounds really, really bad, but I've just lost all my heart this season, and I thought we were going to get beat against Southampton, and that was the first time I ever predicted a loss for West Ham, and we won. So I'm trying to potentially go down this route of being negative with the hope that West Ham turn up on the day. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 loss. and then we're going to come up against Stoke, and oh my god, things are going to get worse. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed our Chelsea West Ham preview. Has anyone got any last minute points they want to make? Any more endorsements from Tango Oompa Loompa, or
You have to say something, Luke. Do you have to say something as part of the sponsorship? Probably get out of the way now.
Yeah, basically,
you've been tangled.
yeah, so I've been tangoed, and I've not actually been tangoed. I've been tangled by the rest of this group and my apparent friends, and by this dodgy webcam. So this isn't me slapping. This isn't me getting out of orange paint from the house and just paint all over my face just for the sake of it. This is a complexion, and this is a dodgy webcam. This has nothing to do with my actual face. So,
Okay,
but
I'm well Joe of your tan.
Yeah, same.
have it, please. I'll give you. I will stop laptops. It's fine. You can have all this abuse I'm getting every single week. It's fine. No problem at all.
Steph,
take advantage now.
Thanks very much for coming on tonight. What has your thoughts been? And listen, I'm going to throw you right under the bus. Are you coming back on?
Yeah.
Top
no.
notch.
Especially with that Oompa Loompa.
Hey.
My mum calls me Oompa Loompa because of my tan. So, but she ain't seen you yet. So
Honestly,
She hasn't
in real
got
life,
that. You haven't got that
Millwall.
shade though, Steph. You haven't got that shade. He's got.
I'm probably whiter than Anton in real life, and he's Scottish. That's how bad I am.
That's because of my lighting. I've got my good lighting here.
Yeah, it's all good lighting. I've got shit lighting. It's just my luck.
Listen, if you have any questions, please get them in the comments below. We'll get back to you. Follow us
Not
on.
Oompa Loompa comments. Those are real comments, West Ham comments.
we get you a green wig next week, Luke.
Yeah.
It's just still going.
Follow us on all the socials. You've got Irons United on Twitter, Irons United on Facebook, Irons United on Instagram. We'll put all the links into everyone's Twitter who uses Twitter in here. Get following. Any comments you want to make, please get in touch. If anyone wants to come on, please get in touch. Good news we've got, which is the partnership with Umbro has been extended for another year. So we'll have some more exciting things coming out next year with regards to the channel. Some new shows are coming out. Rich, I think you've got a Worldwide Irons to get uploaded over the next couple of days before the Chelsea game as well. So yeah, keep coming on, keep hitting that thumbs up. I think that's what it is. Is it a thumbs up? And subscribe to the channel, and we'll go from there. Anyway, he's been Luke, she's been Steph, he's been Richard, he's been an Oompa Loompa, I've been Anton. We are Irons United. Come on, you Irons.
I'm getting a new laptop.
Come on, you